and welcome to reading and writing fractions less than 1/decimals. Make sure you put your date on your paper and underline your title for your lesson. So we already did reading and writing with whole numbers, but right now we're looking for numbers that are less than 1. So I'm going to just separate my paper into 3 columns. And I'm going to start in the first column with standard. The second column will be expanded. And the last column will be word. So just like before, we're learning standard, expanded, and word forms. So these are all forms of ways you can write or read decimals. So when I look at standard form, I might have a number like this. And if I notice, I really need to know my place value in order to write an expanded and word form. So I know that this 3-digit is in the tenths place value, and it's a at the end, the TH, the tenths, not the tens, the tenths. So the 2-digit is in the hundredths place value. So when I write this out, I need to make sure that I can separate it as 3/10 plus 2/100. So notice that the 2 has a 0 in front of it. That's because I separated it, expanded it out into the place value. So just like I would have the number 42, and I would write 40 plus 2, I separate the tens and the ones. In the same way, I separate the tenths and the hundredths. So I can also add into this problem 323 thousandths. So this is the thousandths place value with the TH at the end. And I would have to make sure that I put the 3 in the hundredths place value. So the first place value, that's the tenths, and then the second is the hundredths, and then the thousandths would be where the 3-digit is. So I separate the place value for expanded. For word form, I just write it how I read it. So I write it how I read it. So if I look at word form, I would say I have 323, and just like you say the period, like the hundreds period, thousands period, here you say whatever place value or indent. So I have 323 thousandths. So I'm going to write out the word thousandths. And over here I would just write 42. Oh, I forgot my dash up there. So quite simple, very similar to what we did before, but we could also write this out in fractions less than 1 for expanded. So I could say I have 3/10 plus 2/100 plus 3/1000. And both of these are acceptable expanded form. So I have the decimal version and the fraction version. So to start with the next item, we could do this as well. So you might see, in 4th grade you probably saw it this way, but let's say I do 0 and 604 thousandths. Well, I write it how I read it, so I have 600, not hundredths, but 104 thousandths. So I write the place value that I ended, 604 thousandths. So now, if I write an expanded form, I can write it this way or this way, but I can also separate the digit from the place value. So I might write, first I'll do it this way, 6/10 plus, I have 0 hundredths, so I put my 4 thousandths is next. I can write it this way, or I could write 6 times 1/10 plus 4 times 1,000th. That's another way. So, or I can do it in my decimal or my fraction less than 1 form, which would be 6/10 plus 4 thousandths, or I can separate the place value and the digit. So I would do 6 times 1/10 plus 4 times 1,000th. All of these are ways that you will see them. So you might have this way, this way, this way, or this way. These are all acceptable ways to write. So let's see if we have a whole plus a fraction less than 1 or a decimal. So if I try, let's say, I have 32 and 491 thousandths. So this is a big number. I'm going to first write it how I read it, and I have 32. The decimal is written as and it's also pronounced as and. So I know when I see and, that means there's a decimal. 32 and 490 dash, oops, it's a big whoa, 1. And then I write the place value that I end in, thousandths. So I look over here and to write expanded form, remember I have 4 different possible ways I could write it. So I would write 30 plus 2 plus 4/10 plus 9 hundredths plus 1,000th. Or I could write 3 times 10 plus 2 times 1 plus 4 times 1/10 plus 9 times 100th plus 1 times 1,000th. And then my next way, I could write with my fractions. So I have 30 plus 2 plus 4/10 plus 9 hundredths plus 1,000th. And last but certainly not least, I could write my fractions again, but this time I will separate by a place value. 3 times 10 plus 2 times 1 plus 4 times 1/10 plus 9 times 1/100th plus 1 times 1/1000th. And those are my 4 different ways I can write out my expanded form. And remember, whenever you write it out in word form, you always put and as your decimal. And when you read it as 32 and 491 thousandths. You always say the place value that you ended. And that's it.